Jesus does not separate to divide for the sake of division. He separates to refine, to protect, to call his people deeper. Think of a shepherd moving through a dark field at night, gathering the sheep that truly recognize his voice. Listen to me for a moment, because what I'm about to say presses on me like a weight I cannot ignore. Something is happening right now. Not tomorrow, not someday, right now. And if your heart is even a little open, you will feel it. It is as if heaven itself has leaned closer, whispering a warning that refuses to fade. I did not ask for it. I did not seek some dramatic revelation, but the message would not let me go. Jesus warned me. He is separating his true followers right now. Not to frighten us, but to wake us, to draw us out of the fog we keep living in, and to call us back to what is real, pure, eternal. There is urgency in his voice, a holy seriousness, not anger, not panic, but the loving firmness of someone who sees a storm on the horizon and refuses to let his people stand unprepared. When I sensed this, it felt like standing under a bright light that revealed everything. The excuses, the half-hearted prayers, the faith that sounds strong when spoken out loud but collapses in the silence of ordinary days. And I realized something painful. Many of us love the idea of Jesus, but not the surrender that follows him. We love comfort, we love safety, we love being admired. But the cross, the obedience, the quiet, hidden faithfulness when no one is clapping, that is where the separation is happening. Not on social media, not in public displays, in the unseen places of the heart where our true loyalty is exposed. Jesus does not separate to divide for the sake of division. He separates to refine, to protect, to call his people deeper. Think of a shepherd moving through a dark field at night, gathering the sheep that truly recognize his voice, who trust him enough to move when he calls. The others remain, distracted, wandering, convinced they still have time, still have options, still have control. And yet the shepherd keeps calling. He is not forcing, he is inviting. But his invitation is costly. It demands honesty about who we are really following. Is it him, or is it our own desire for control disguised as spirituality? There is a quiet testing happening. It is not loud like headlines. It does not shout like politics or drama. It is more subtle. Who do you turn to when the pressure increases? What guides your choices when sacrifice is required? Whose approval matters most when obedience becomes uncomfortable? These are the questions separating casual belief from living faith. And the truth is, many of us know the right answers, but our lives are answering differently. Jesus is not measuring our words. He is looking at the path our feet actually walk. I think about the nights I have prayed, asking God to use me, to speak to me, to make my life count. Those prayers sound noble, but then he whispers, let go of that pride. Forgive that person. Give without recognition. Sit with me when the world is pulling at you. And suddenly I feel the resistance inside. We ask for closeness with God, but often we cling harder to the very things that keep us far. This is where the separation grows clearer. Those who truly follow him are not perfect. They stumble, they doubt, they cry out, but they keep returning. They keep surrendering. They refuse to let go of him, even when he leads them through places they do not understand. There is something holy about a soul that has decided, no matter what happens, Jesus is my anchor, not my hobby, not a weekend activity, not a label, my anchor, my Lord, my life. That is what he is gathering right now. Not crowds, devotion, not performance, obedience, not noise, depth, and you can feel it. Old patterns are being exposed. Shallow faith is cracking. The comfortable version of Christianity that costs nothing and changes nothing is being shaken because Jesus is not building an audience. He is forming a people who look like him. Sometimes this separation feels like loss. Friendships drift because your priorities change. Certain opportunities fade because you refuse to compromise your integrity. You might even feel misunderstood, judged as too intense, too serious, too surrendered. But in the quiet, you sense something else rising. Clarity, peace, a deeper hunger for God Himself, not just what He can give. And in that hunger, there is freedom. You begin to realize that following Jesus is not about escaping pain. It is about belonging to the one who never abandons you in it. There is also a sobering side to this. Jesus warned that many would say His name, speak His teachings, even do impressive things in His name, yet never actually know Him. That is one of the most unsettling truths He ever spoke. It means it is possible to be near spiritual activity and still far from Him. That thought makes me pause. It should make all of us pause. Because the separation is not between churchgoers and non-churchgoers, or between religious and non-religious. It is between those who truly surrender to Him and those who only admire Him from a distance. When I pray about this, I keep sensing the tenderness in His warning. He is not trying to shame us. He is trying to rescue us from deception. The deception that says, you can follow Jesus without a cross. You can have transformation without repentance. You can have resurrection life without dying to yourself. This message is attractive. It feels easier, but it leaves us empty. And Jesus loves us too much to leave us there. So He is allowing moments, circumstances, seasons that press on us, not to crush us, but to reveal what we truly rely on. Think about the times your plans fell apart, the prayers that seemed unanswered, the doors that stayed closed even when you begged. Perhaps those were not punishments. Perhaps they were invitations to trust Him beyond your understanding, to learn dependence instead of control, to cling to Him rather than to outcomes. In those moments, the heart is tested. Do I walk away, disappointed that God did not obey me? Or do I stay, believing that His wisdom surpasses mine, even when I do not see it yet? This is where true followers are formed, not in the spotlight, but in the hidden wrestlings of the soul. I imagine Jesus standing before us, not with harsh eyes, but with a gaze that sees everything and still loves completely. He asks only one real question. Will you let me be Lord of your life, not just part of it? And that question keeps echoing. It reaches into our finances, our relationships, our secret habits, our dreams, our wounds. Nothing is exempt. Everything becomes an altar. And as painful as that sounds, it is also the place where real life begins. Because when we release our grip, His hands finally have room to work. There is also a deep beauty in the separation. When God draws someone closer, their heart softens. Forgiveness flows more freely. Compassion deepens. They become less interested in winning arguments and more interested in reflecting Christ. They stop asking, how far can I go and still be okay? And start asking, how close can I get to Him? Their lives begin to shine, not with perfection, but with authenticity. And that authenticity is contagious. It awakens others, not through pressure, but through presence. Some of you have been feeling this stirring already. A discomfort with superficial faith, a longing for more than inspirational quotes and occasional prayers, a sense that there is something deeper God is calling you into, even if you cannot describe it. That is not your imagination. That is the Spirit drawing you, separating you not from people to despise them, but from distractions that dull your soul. He is preparing you, strengthening you, refining you for a purpose that requires a heart anchored in Him. I will be honest. This path is not always glamorous. It may involve seasons of silence where heaven feels quiet and you wonder if you are forgotten. But those seasons often become holy classrooms where trust is learned. In the waiting, God shapes character. In the uncertainty, He deepens faith. And while others chase constant stimulation, the true follower chooses to remain rooted even when feelings fade. That steady faith is precious to God. It honors Him more than dramatic displays ever could. There is also a warning here for our divided hearts. We cannot cling to idols and expect the fullness of His presence. Our idols may not look like statues. They may look like our image, our control, our need to be admired, our private sins we refuse to confront. Jesus puts His hand on those places, not to condemn us, but to free us. Yet freedom always costs something. It calls us to repent, to bring into the light what we have kept hidden, to say, Lord, I want you more than this. That prayer marks the beginning of transformation. And as he separates, he also gathers. He gathers people across nations, backgrounds, personalities, uniting them not through human similarity, but through the shared fire of devotion to him. These people carry peace in chaos. They speak truth with love. They refuse to compromise the gospel for comfort. Their lives say, Christ is worth everything. And when you encounter them, you feel it, not because they boast, but because there is an unshakable quiet strength in them. That is what God is building. You might feel unqualified, inconsistent, or too broken for this kind of call. But hear this, Jesus never chooses the impressive. He transforms the willing. What separates true followers is not flawless performance. It is surrender. It is the humble daily decision to say yes again, even after failure. To rise when you stumble, to confess when you fall, to keep your eyes on him when shame tries to drag you away. His grace is not an excuse to stay unchanged. It is the power that enables real change. As I speak, I feel the invitation extending to anyone who senses that holy stirring inside. Do not ignore it. Do not drown it in distraction or push it aside for later. Later is one of the enemy's favorite lies. Later becomes never. Jesus calls now because he loves now, because he sees where your choices lead, because he desires you close to his heart, not drifting on the edges, half awake to the things of God and half consumed by the noise of the world. There will be moments on this journey when you feel the cost more than the reward. People may misunderstand your pursuit of God. Old temptations may whisper again. Doubts may rise like shadows. In those moments, remember who called you. Remember his faithfulness in your past. Remember the cross, where love proved itself beyond question. True followers are not those who never face storms. They are the ones who cling to Christ through the storm, convinced that he is worthy of trust even when the path is unclear. Let this truth settle deep. Jesus does not separate to reject. He separates to draw near, to sanctify, to purify love so that it becomes whole, undivided, strong enough to endure. And the world desperately needs people whose faith is not borrowed, not artificial, not dependent on circumstances. It needs men and women who know God for themselves, who have walked with him through fire and discovered that he remains faithful. So if you sense that pressure, that refining, that holy discomfort, do not run from it. Lean into it with prayer. Open the scriptures not as a ritual, but as a lifeline. Speak honestly to God about your fears, your attachments, your resistance. Ask him to make you his, fully and completely. And then watch, slowly, how he reshapes your desires, your priorities, your inner world. That reshaping is the work of his Spirit, and it is the mark of those who truly belong to him. I feel compelled to say this with tenderness and firmness together. The days of casual faith are fading. We are entering a time where authenticity will matter more than appearance, where depth will matter more than display, where intimacy with Jesus will be the only thing strong enough to hold us. That is why he is separating. Not to narrow his love, but to deepen our response to it, to prepare hearts that can carry his presence into a world starving for truth and hope. And as he does this work, there is such hope. Because every person who chooses surrender becomes a living testimony, a quiet miracle, a reminder that God still transforms lives, still calls people to himself, still writes redemption into broken stories. Your life can become part of that story, not because you are extraordinary, but because you are willing, because you dare to believe that Jesus is not just an idea to discuss, but a king to follow with everything you are. Let this sink in, right now, in the hidden places of the world and the hidden corners of your heart. Jesus is moving, he is calling, he is separating. And the greatest question before you is simple and profound. Will you stay where it is comfortable, or will you step closer, trusting him with the parts of your life you have guarded for so long? That step may feel small, but in heaven's eyes, it is monumental. It is the step that marks the difference between admiration and discipleship, between watching from a distance and walking by his side. Keep listening for his voice. Keep leaning into his presence. Keep allowing him to shape you, stretch you, awaken you. Because the one who warns is also the one who heals, restores, and leads with unwavering love. And those who truly follow him will discover again and again that every surrender becomes a doorway into deeper life, deeper peace, deeper joy than anything this world could ever offer. There is something sacred about the moments when God confronts us gently but firmly, not with thunder, not with spectacle, but with a quiet truth that pierces deeper than any argument. He places his finger on the places we would rather avoid and says, "This matters. This is shaping you. This is either drawing you closer to me or slowly pulling you away." And in those moments, our response reveals everything. Some harden their hearts, protecting their pride. Others soften, even through tears, and whisper, "Lord, have your way." That whisper may not sound dramatic, but heaven hears it. It is the language of true discipleship. There is a stirring happening among those who have grown tired of pretending, tired of masking exhaustion behind fake spiritual strength, tired of carrying hidden sin while still speaking religious words, tired of smiling outwardly while spiritually drifting inwardly. They are realizing that what Jesus desires is not performance, but presence. He wants hearts that come honestly, even when they are broken, confused, or ashamed. Hearts that say, "I cannot do this without you." Those are the hearts he draws into the separation, because honesty is the doorway to transformation. We often think God moves most powerfully in big, loud moments, but the separation happening right now is mostly quiet. It happens in the stillness of mornings when someone chooses prayer over endless distraction. It happens late at night when a person decides to confess rather than hide. It happens in decisions to forgive when bitterness would feel easier. It happens when someone chooses integrity when compromise would be more convenient. None of these moments go viral, but every one of them changes eternity. I feel the weight of how deeply God longs for his people to return to him with undivided hearts, not driven by fear, but drawn by love. A love that knows every wound, every scar, every failure, and still says, "You are worth redeeming." Yet love, real love, will not let us stay enslaved to things that are killing us. So Jesus calls us away from the idols we cling to, away from the false comforts we use to numb our pain, and into a freedom that feels terrifying at first because it requires trust. Trust is built when we walk with him through seasons that make no sense, when prayers seem unanswered, when doors close, when silence stretches longer than we thought we could endure. Each of those moments becomes an invitation to decide again who we believe God truly is. Is he only good when life is easy? Or is he still faithful, still worthy, even when the path winds through valleys we never chose? True followers learn, slowly and painfully sometimes, to say, "Even here, I will stay with you." There is a refining fire in these seasons, not a fire meant to destroy, but to burn away what cannot last. Pride, self-dependence, secret compromises, false identities built on applause or achievement. These things crumble in the fire, and though that process hurts, something astonishing happens on the other side. What remains is stronger, purer, more real. A faith that is no longer propped up by circumstances, but rooted in the character of God himself. I think of the way Jesus walked among people who were deeply religious and yet spiritually asleep. He did not simply comfort them, he confronted them, not to humiliate, but to awaken. He exposed their motives, their hypocrisy, their misplaced confidence, because he knew that illusions must be shattered before truth can take root. The same love that heals also reveals. And right now, he is revealing where our loyalties have been divided, where our devotion has been diluted, where we have settled for a version of faith that feels safe but lacks power. This awakening can feel uncomfortable. It exposes inconsistencies we would rather ignore. It reveals compromises we have learned to justify. But discomfort is often the doorway to renewal. When a soul reaches the point where it can no longer tolerate pretending, it becomes ready for God to do something deeper. That is where humility is born. That is where repentance becomes beautiful instead of humiliating. That is where grace becomes more than a concept and becomes a lifeline. Some of you listening may feel caught between two worlds. On one side, the familiar patterns, the old habits, the relationships and identities that feel secure. On the other side, a persistent pull toward a deeper walk with God, one that demands honesty, surrender, and courage. That tension is not a sign that something is wrong. It is often the sign that God is calling you forward, that He is separating you from the things that cannot hold you, so He can anchor you in the one who never fails. There will be times when the old life calls back, promising ease, pleasure, or control. In those moments, remember what it cost you before. Remember the emptiness, the restlessness, the quiet ache that followed, and then remember the peace you felt in the moments you truly surrendered. The peace that did not remove every problem but brought a deep sense that God was near, that your life had purpose, that your soul was seen. That peace is the fruit of belonging to Him fully. This season of separation is also a season of preparation. God is forming hearts that can carry His presence without being consumed by pride. Hearts that can endure trials without collapsing into despair. Hearts that can love people deeply while still clinging first to Him. These are the kinds of hearts He uses to bring healing to families, courage to communities, and hope to spaces where darkness has long claimed territory. And the preparation always happens before the assignment. It is hidden. It is slow. It is holy. You may feel unseen right now. You may feel like your obedience is going unnoticed, your faithfulness uncelebrated. But heaven sees what the world ignores. Every prayer whispered when no one else is listening. Every temptation resisted in silence. Every act of kindness done without recognition. Every moment you choose God over self. These are the building blocks of a life that truly follows Jesus. He values these moments more than any applause you could ever receive. There is also a tenderness in the way He restores those who have wandered. Separation is not just about calling people deeper. It is also about calling people home. Maybe you drifted slowly. Maybe you walked away deliberately. Maybe shame convinced you that you had disqualified yourself from closeness with God. Listen carefully. Jesus is still calling you, not with accusation, but with invitation. The same voice that separates is the voice that says, "Return to me. I am not done with you." When we respond to that invitation, something shifts in the spiritual atmosphere of our lives. Chains begin to loosen. Lies begin to lose their grip. The stories we've told ourselves about who we are and what we deserve start to unravel in the light of His truth. We come to realize that the harsh inner voice that keeps us stuck does not sound like Jesus at all. His voice convicts, yes, but it always leads toward hope, toward redemption, toward the possibility of becoming new. And as more hearts awaken, a quiet movement begins. Not a movement of pride or superiority, but of humility and devotion. People whose lives testify that following Jesus is not about outward show, but inward transformation. People who live with a sense of holy urgency, aware that time is precious and souls are eternal. People whose lives say, without needing many words, there is more. There is depth. There is a God who is worth everything. If you feel the pull of this message, do not silence it. Sit with it. Bring it before God in prayer. Ask Him what in your life He is calling you to release. Ask Him where He is asking for deeper trust. Ask Him to reveal any place where your loyalty has been divided. Those prayers might shake you. They might expose uncomfortable truths, but they will also open the door to a level of intimacy with God that cannot be reached any other way. And slowly, as you walk this path, you begin to notice a transformation taking place. Your reactions change. Your desires shift. Temptations that once had a strong grip begin to lose their power. You find yourself drawn more to what strengthens your soul than to what merely distracts it. You begin to recognize God's voice more clearly, not because life is quieter, but because your heart has learned to listen. This is what happens when Jesus gathers those who truly follow Him. So stay with this process. Stay with the refining. Stay with the whisper of God calling you deeper. Even when the journey challenges everything in you, remember that the one who leads you is faithful. He is not toying with your heart. He is shaping it, preparing it, strengthening it for purposes that go beyond what you can see right now. And those who keep saying yes, one surrender at a time, will discover a depth of life with him that words can barely begin to describe.